Predictions for the first match round of the Premier League. Leeds United versus Everton. This is a massive game already. Juicy. Ellen Road has to be the place that Leeds United kind of build their season around, getting big points, getting big wins over sides, and making it a fortress and building some sort of form if they want to stay in the Premier League around Ellen Road. I think it's actually a great start for them because Everton, not quite sure about maybe Jack Grealish's availability straight away. And Ndai's a fantastic player, but this has got a draw written all over it. But you have to say Everton, if they can get all these creative players all flowing in the next few weeks, they'll start picking up points in a big way. I'm a massive fan of what Everton have done in the transfer market. Barry is someone to look out for as well. I feel that it's going to be a score draw. I'm going 1-1. By the way, I'm going to add graphics to these videos as we progress throughout the season, so make sure you subscribe for that. Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. This is a strange game for Brentford. Keith Andrews, a young, excited manager, backed by the ownership of Brentford. He hasn't got Mbuemo. He hasn't got Wissa, who looks like he'll be kind of outside of the kind of group as he looks to move potentially to Newcastle United, which is a bit of a shame because these kind of games Wissa excelled in, particularly away from home. We've got a little bit more space to run into, and Nottingham Forest keeping so many of their players. Their backline's still untouched. You look at what happened to Bournemouth this summer. Murillo's still at Nottingham Forest, for example. The fullbacks are still there. They're outstanding at Nottingham Forest, and keeping Gibbs White. This is the kind of game where they'll look to start strong. It's going to be a tight game, but if Nottingham Forest get on the ball, they could score a few goals. They really could against Brentford. I'm going 2-0 against Brentford. I'm worried for Brentford this season. Wolves versus Manchester City. This is a juicy game. I'm a huge fan of Pereira. They've lost their left back, of course, to Man City himself. Semedo's gone as well, who I thought was a decent player for them throughout the years. Larson's still there, linked to Newcastle. I think that's not going to materialise necessarily, but Cunha's gone as well. Hwang's still there, who I like. It's a pretty thin squad. It must be the thinnest squad in the Premier League. Right now, I think they'll be fine for the next few weeks, but they might need to dip into the transfer market to really make sure they stay in the Premier League next season. Man City, this is going to be really interesting. Not only what does the midfield look like without Rodri? I think Reinder's more than capable of holding the midfield by himself, but he needs a little bit of support. I mean, the Premier League is the toughest division in world football. It's easy just being a striker and tapping things in. Well, all positions are hard in football, but Reinder's holding a midfield together, the interplay between him and Cherki, him and Foden, the back line, how he receives the ball off the back line, who are the centre-backs. There's a lot of unanswered questions. If it goes right, then Reinders could be the guiding force that we see Man City go back to kind of strolling through games and looking silky. It certainly happened for Reinders against Palermo in the pre-season friendly recently, but there are big question marks. Wolves away, very tricky. If you can get it into Haaland, get a bit of pace around him, have some decent defensive stability. We still don't know about the keeper situation. I'm going to go 1-0, but it's going to be tight. And actually, do not be surprised if there's some weird upset here. Sunderland versus West Ham. This is a great game for Sunderland. Jacques has just been made club captain. He's a Champions League level midfielder. That alone for me is the best business I've seen from a promoted club in many seasons. With the way Labrie likes to play, I think he's a very dynamic manager that they like to bomb forward. With the fans, it's going to be a packed stadium against a West Ham side who look, maybe they're a little bit under the weather. They're a little bit low on confidence. They're a little bit flat as a side. Maybe Graham Potter's under pressure right now. I think it's the perfect side to play at home right now. I really do. Callum Wilson, I like. Carl Walker-Peters, I like a lot. Feels like a squad player. Mikel Antonio, obviously not there as well. You feel maybe there's a lack of excitement around West Ham. That's where Sunderland could pick up a cheeky win. I'm going 1-0 to Sunderland. Aston Villa versus Newcastle. These two are very similar in terms of squad players. Obviously, Ramsey looks like he's joining Newcastle United. I doubt he'll be ready for that game. But this is such a strange fixture. If this came in the middle of the season, it'd be a lot easier to predict. But Newcastle could rock up to Villa Park, get a cheeky win. No question about it. And the same for Villa. They played a couple of seasons ago, right at the start of the season. And it was a crazy game. I feel like it's a draw written all over it. There's still question marks about Isaac. He won't be playing in the game. I prefer Newcastle's midfield to Aston Villa at the moment, but home advantage for Aston Villa. 2-2, I think that's spot on. Man United versus Arsenal, I'll do very, very quick. I'll be doing an in-depth video, so make sure you subscribe for that. But this is a massive amount of pressure for Mikel Arteta. I think they're going to get on the ball. I think Zubamendi's been a star signing. I actually rate that almost more than Gyökeres on some level, just because I think Gyökeres will come and go. There'll be different forwards, different strikers, but Zubamendi could be the main man at Arsenal for many, many years. I really do. I think the whole midfield can run through Zubamendi in a different way that it does to Rice. I think Rice will definitely be boosted by playing alongside someone as quality as Zubamendi. And it's a big game for Odegaard, and these kind of away games against the big six. Do we see enough from him? Fresh starts to the season. Of course, Saka's there as well. Man United could definitely cause an upset if Sesko gets onto the end of something, if Cunha does something special. But you have to actually look at Arsenal's form against the big six, traditional big six. It's exceptional. Let's be completely real. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. Chelsea versus Palace. I'd love Palace to do something here. They're keeping Mark Gahey. Lacroix is an exceptional centre-back. They started off a little bit slow last season. Will any of the kind of administrative stuff with the Europa League cause any kind of flatness around the club after what has been incredibly successful, winning the Community Shield as well, of course? You've got to think about Eze still being there, Mateta as well. I actually think they're going to draw with Chelsea 1-0. I think Chelsea are a fantastic side. They just come off a great Club World Cup campaign. I just see Palace doing something a little bit spicy here. Can Chelsea, work Pedro in? Is it going to be Delap up front? Gittins on the left? I'm not entirely sure it does enough to beat Palace right now. I think there's going to be a lot of work still needed for this Chelsea side with so many players still coming in. The back line as well, I think, is vulnerable without Colwell, who's been injured, and the keeper. I'm going 1-0. Tottenham versus Burnley. I see nothing but a Tottenham win here. I think Burnley are going downtown as I see it. I think fair enough to Scott Parker for what he did defensively last season in the Championship. But what I saw from Spurs against PSG in the Super Cup was absolutely outstanding. They look fluid. They look bold, aggressive. Richarlison, I thought, had a good game. Kudus. Van de Ven had a good game, despite the sort of penalty miss. They're a really good side. I think Spurs are going to win 3-0, actually. Brighton versus Fulham. This has got a 1-0 draw written all over it. Let's be completely real. I like what Brighton have done in the transfer market. Same with Fulham, keeping things simple. Maybe Fulham need a little bit more, linked to, I think it's Kelvin from Shakhtar Donetsk. Let's be completely real. This is a 1-0 draw. And then Liverpool versus Bournemouth. I predicted this already on the channel with a little bit more depth, so make sure you subscribe and check that out. But ultimately, Liverpool versus Bournemouth is the dream. The dream performance that you need. Friday night under the lights. A Bournemouth backline that's completely decimated. A Bournemouth front line that's still dangerous. Maybe they nick a goal. But ultimately, I like Iraola, but there's nothing he can do against Liverpool at Anfield under the lights. Friday night. It's going to be 3-0. It's going to be 3-1. Something like that. I'll go 3-0. Make sure you subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Leave your predictions. And I'll see you very, very soon.